In broilers, copper works as a growth stimulant in that when we feed copper above the requirement, for instance, of the broiler is around 5 to 10 parts per million of copper. If we add somewhere in the range of 100 to 250 parts per million in the diet, we see a growth response, particularly in starter diets and then also even in later growing diets. This is due to copper having a positive effect in the gut. There is primarily, at least, there may be other factors involved, but we know that copper affects the microorganisms in the gut and it improves gut health. And this results in greater feed intake by the birds and also a greater body weight gain. When using copper as a growth stimulant, there are differences in the way they're metabolized in the lower gut between copper sulfate and basic copper chloride. Research that we've done where we've looked at different sections of the intestine. With copper sulfate, it is so soluble, it is taken up early on in the intestine at very high concentrations. Concentrations that in some cases can cause oxidative damage to tissue because the copper is not all bound at this point. On the other hand, the basic copper chloride, there's less taken up early in the intestine, but if we go down the track, we see it continue to be taken up. So the soluble concentrations early on in the digestive tract are much lower than copper sulfate, but as we go down the track, the soluble concentrations are at least as high as copper sulfate.